Today, a Monkey Life special, as Alison travels to Vietnam to release 2 golden-cheeked gibbons back into their natural habitat.
Trepidation, nerves, emotion, oof, it's all there.
But the mission's in jeopardy when one of the gibbons refuses to cooperate.
We have to delay her, darting her to it another day because she's so upset now.
After years in captivity, will the gibbons have the courage to make a break for freedom? This is Dao Tien Rescue Centre in Vietnam.
Whoa.
It's the sister sanctuary of Monkey World in Dorset, and the staff here dedicate their lives to rescuing and rehabilitating Vietnamese primates.
We just would like to make a nice life for the monkey.
Alison has travelled 6,000 miles from the UK to visit Dao Tien, which lies 160 miles northeast of the capital, Ho Chi Minh City. At the airport, Alison meets up with Dr. Curtis Pei, who's flown in from Taiwan.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Curtis helped set up the centre in 2007. Consultant vet Uli Stryker is also making a special visit. She's assisted the team in Vietnam many times before. Marina Kenyon used to work at Monkey World, but is now in charge at Dao Tien. Vietnam, like many countries, has a huge problem with the illegal trade in wildlife. Poaching and smuggling are common, and the law is difficult to enforce. Alison and her late husband Jim Cronin planned to set up this centre to protect some of the most endangered local species, including langurs, pygmy loris, and golden-cheeked gibbons.
The development of Dao Tien has been incredibly quick. Within 3 years, not only have we developed a site that was totally virgin rainforest, but we've already brought animals in, rehabilitated them, and are putting them back out. And I believe it's unparalleled.
Dao Tien was chosen because it's an island on the edge of Cat Tien National Park. Being surrounded by water, it's a perfect place to release gibbons back into the trees, because there's a limit to where they can go, and therefore the staff will be able to track their progress.
Everything to the right is the semi-wild habitat. The gibbons that we're about to release will go into that side. It's quite a nice large area with good primary trees and good fruiting trees, so the gibbons might be able to survive in there on their own.
Alison visits Dao Tien regularly, but this trip has been a long time in the planning. The 2 golden-cheeked gibbons who are going to be released have been carefully chosen by the team. Lily is a male gibbon. They'd known of him for many years before he came to the centre. Alison and Jim were tipped off that he was living on his own in a cage at a petrol station. He was one of the first gibbons to be confiscated by the Vietnamese authorities and taken to Dao Tien when it opened.
I was looking at him today thinking he hasn't changed at all in his face in the last 8 years. He still looks that really handsome young gibbon. I'm actually very pleased that he's the first one because he really deserves a chance to get back into those trees.
His partner, Mary, was rescued after a hunter caught her in the wild. In their natural habitat, gibbons live in pairs. Marina put Lily and Mary together, and fortunately, they've made a great match. Lee helps Marina to run the sanctuary. He wants the gibbons to get plenty of rest before they're let loose into the trees.
So what I'm going to do now is give them some food, give them some water, and hopefully they'll eat and then settle down for the night. We're sort of there with these guys. You know, big day tomorrow, and then hopefully out they go.
Before Mary and Lily are released, they need to have radio collars put on so the team can track their progress and make sure they're coping on their own.
put it through up there,
Yeah.
secure it, and then decide where your weak link is.
But once they know they're okay, the team want the radio collars to fall off the gibbons so they can use them again. They've called a meeting to try and work out the best way of doing this.
A big needle, you can actually just thread this onto a
You can
needle.
do that,
And
you can use it.
we're trying to estimate which material will keep these attached to the gibbons, but then at approximately 10 months will drop off. And if they're doing well, then we want to leave them alone. We don't want to have to try and dart them or catch them again. I reckon these things will go quicker maybe than the dental floss with wax.
I think that should work.
In the end, the dental floss wins. Good for your teeth, good for your radio collar.
Mary and Lily are going to be released into a 20-hectare site at the top of the island. The team have erected a huge fence to cordon off the gibbons' special area. This was a massive undertaking, and several members of staff from Monkey World, including animal director Jeremy, who has built many electric fences at the park, flew to Vietnam to help. The fence has been cleverly designed to protect Mary and Lily in all seasons.
We're in the dry season now. The river will probably go 2 meters above my head at high floods in the wet season. So the way this part of the fence has been designed by Jeremy is that we have floodgate controllers. Is so that when the water comes up and hits the first electric wire on the fence, the floodgate controller will feel the resistance, and the way it works, it'll actually stop that part of the fence working so that the rest of the fence doesn't stop, because it's vitally important that, we've got to keep the gibbons in.
There are currently 27 golden-cheeked gibbons at Dao Tien, but not all of them are suitable for releasing back into the wild. 7 of them have diseases which could spread among the wild golden-cheeked population. They can't stay at the centre because, unlike Monkey World, Dao Tien is not designed to provide a home for these primates for the rest of their lives. So the team need to find alternative wildlife parks that'll look after them. Today, Alison and Marina are travelling to Madagoy Forest Park, which cares for a variety of wild animals.
It's an exciting time. It's a little bit different than returning animals to the wild, but it's all part of the project to get golden cheek gibbons out of the illegal market and into suitable accommodation, whether that's back out into the forest or in a captive situation that's good welfare.
Marina and Alison are working with the full cooperation of the Vietnamese authorities. Madagoy want to help, but at the moment their facilities aren't good enough. However, they are keen to learn from the team at Dao Tien.
The situation's not ideal, but we're trying to embrace Madagoy because it's a local park and get them to start displaying the wildlife that they do have in a more natural way and to work with us on conservation. And we have to begin somewhere, and it's a place like this.
It's just nothing like I imagined. I think I need 5 minutes just to come back down to the real world and realise there's a lot of work to do. I need to realise it's lots of little steps. It's not big leaps. The good thing is they're willing to listen to our advice and they want our help, which is great. And I think once they see that, they will then rise to the challenge and move on.
While Marina and Alison head back from Madagoy, Vet Uli is getting ready to dart Mary and Lily. To be able to put the radio collars on the gibbons, she'll have to anaesthetise them.
Oh boy.
She starts with Lily. As he's been around humans all his life, the blowpipe doesn't bother him much. Uli soon gets a clear shot.
Once they hang on with their hands really, really long, that's the last thing that basically falls asleep.
It only takes a few minutes for the drug to start taking effect. Once it's safe to go into the enclosure, Uli and Lee carefully put Lily into the carrying crate.
You're next.
Mary's been keeping a careful eye on her mate. As there are risks involved with anaesthetics, the primates are only put under when absolutely necessary. Uli takes the opportunity to do a quick health check on Lily.
Otherwise, you look good. Yes, the tops of the canines clipped. It's either broken on the cage, biting in the bars, or they intentionally clipped by people to make them less sharp.
We've checked his teeth, we've double-checked his DNA, so when he goes into the forest, yes, he's very strong.
Now the pressure's on. The anaesthetic will start to wear off in 20 minutes.
If it's too tight, it will affect swallowing, eating, and movement.
Lily and Mary are about to make history. They'll be the first gibbons ever to be radio-collared.
I think I'm happy with that, actually.
When he's out of the box, then we'll see what he thinks of the next stage in his life, which is life with a collar.
So, one down, one to go. Now it's Mary's turn.
Oh, yeah.
But she saw what happened to Lily and is wary.
Can't even point at her properly because as soon as I do, she's gonna move.
Mary is just too quick for Uli.
It's just impossible. It's impossible to catch your breath. It's just impossible.
Uli knew Mary was going to be more difficult to dart because, unlike Lily, she spent many years in the wild before she was taken into captivity. So her survival instinct and fear of humans is strong.
You miss them once or twice, they'll learn it. They hear the sound, so they know exactly what's happening, and then it gets worse.
The more she tries, the more agitated Mary is getting.
We have to delay her, darting her, to it another day because she's so upset now. It doesn't work.
It's early morning at Dao Tien Rescue Center in Vietnam. Lily has spent the night on his own in a holding cage within the 20-hectare site, where it's hoped he and his partner Mary will be released. But Mary still has to be radio-collared, and to do that, vet Uli has to anaesthetize her. The team were hoping she would have calmed down overnight, but she's still agitated, and Uli can't get a clear shot.
Just a bit awkward high to shoot. That's the problem.
This is bad news for the team. If they can't get a radio collar on Mary, the release will have to be abandoned.
Marina and her team have done a brilliant job keeping Mary very wild, but it just means that when we have to get hold of her to put the radio collar on, it makes it really difficult and hard.
The team do their best to distract Mary while Uli tries again.
So sad. I just wish that somehow we could tell her, if you just come with us into the box, we'll put a little collar on, then you can go out into the forest and we'll leave you alone.
Lee stands ready with a net to break Mary's fall, but she's outwitting them all. Finally, Uli takes a shot. It's a direct hit. Having spent so long trying to knock her out, the team move quickly.
At this point, we just need to quickly get the collar on and get out of here and get her down into the forest.
With her radio collar secure, Uli gives her a quick once-over and finds a rather large bump.
It feels quite nice and solid. It's not just fat, so it's very possible Mary and Lily have been together long enough. Could well be that she's pregnant. And if the next generation is actually born in the trees, that would just be a really, really nice situation. And also it would make Mary's and Lily's pair bond stronger.
So, with a possible baby on board, Mary is taken to the holding cage to be reunited with Lily.
Hello, mister. I think this morning when he woke up out here all by himself, imagine that was a bit scary. And they do have all of the same emotions as us. Out you go. Yeah. Little rocket lady.
If you go through, that would be great news.
Good girl. Brilliant. Fantastic. Nice job. My chest is starting to tighten and feel a bit emotional about it because this is the first pair of gibbons that we've got radio collared, and we've got 20 hectares of rainforest stood behind me right now that is going to become their home. You know, you sort of say it flippantly, but it's never been done before.
Having lived in the wild for years before she was captured, the team are hoping that Mary will be able to look after Lily and teach him some survival skills.
I'm very confident that because all the preparation we've done before, and I'm very confident that it's going to work.
But for the release to be successful, the local community needs to be on board. So officials from Dao Tien National Park and the team from Dao Tien have invited villagers to a meeting.
It is very important to have the local communities to understand what we are doing. We also need the local community to support our project.
It's very exciting because this is the final thing now before the gibbons go into the semi-free, and we need to make sure before they go into the 20 hectares that the local people are actually very, very happy. The biggest problem is local people fish on the edge of the island, and their wives and children sometimes come on the island to cut grass. But we need to make sure that stops now, because now it's the time that gibbons are going to be in those trees, and those gibbons need to be away from humans.
A representative from Dao Tien National Park tells the locals that under Vietnamese law, it's illegal to hunt primates or keep them as pets.
It's gone very well. The local people who stood up said they were just so pleased we had come to talk to them, and that they now know, and they actually all want to come to Dao Tien to see as well. So it's very good.
For Mary and Lily, this is the last time they'll bed down in captivity. The next morning, the team are apprehensive as they make their way to the holding cage.
Trepidation, nerves, emotion, oof, it's all there. So it's been a long time in coming.
This area is going to be important for the two gibbons. The team are planning to leave extra food for them here in case they can't find enough. And they need to be able to tempt the gibbons back in case either of them has a problem.
Now it's up to them to learn how to travel and to create a brain map of this area so they know where to find food. But always remembering this is the best tree in town. This is the place to come
You
back
get bananas.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A final inspection, and Uli prepares the tracking device.
Everybody good? All right, let's go.
Mary is the first to make the break for freedom.
Mary's done what we expected, and she's flown out within seconds, climbed up the tree.
Lily is nervous and holds back.
She's waiting for him.
Hopefully she might start talking to him, just kind of remind him, come on, follow me.
Go on, Lily, come on.
Lily was caught from the wild when he was very young, so has never known anything other than captivity.
Lily's had 20 years in a cage. He'd have been 6 months old probably when he was last in a tree. So he's just trying to pretend that nothing's happened and it's just a normal day in a cage.
Mary seems very confident, and to Uli's delight, the radio collars are working.
It's still in the same direction where we saw her last. Probably about 50 to 70 meters away.
Ooh, there she is. She's coming to the front. She is still waiting for him, and it's been a while now.
The team decide to back off and give Lily some space.
He's exhibiting all kinds of displacement activities, scratching a lot. He can't get comfortable, so I think we're gearing up for going out. Hopefully.
Everyone's anxious, but finally, Lily goes for it.
At long last.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's an emotional time for Alison. Her late husband Jim had dreamt of this day.
Jim knew that a few people could do big things and prevent species from facing extinction. I think if Jim looked around and saw the center, he'd be really pleased because we're doing just that. We really are fulfilling Jim's dream. It's very hard, but it's wonderful.
Now it's up to Mary and Lily to create a new life for themselves and their baby. Next time on Monkey Life.
Ame.
After her unsuccessful meeting with Ame, overweight Oisin is introduced to 2 more orangs in the nursery.
She's got no orang social graces whatsoever.
And it's a big day for the park's latest ugly monkeys.
This is going to be the first day that they've ever stepped outside, ever in their lifetime.